to Robert J. McKee Stadium and to this afternoon's varsity soccer contest featuring the Warriors of Fall versus your Conard Chieftains. Prior to the introduction of the starting lineups, it is my privilege to introduce those seniors who will participate today in their final crosstown soccer contest. The senior class of the Warriors. Number 3, Alexandra Barnett. Number 4, Emily Remicchio. Number 11, Grace Miller. Number 13, Riley Codier. Number 15, Captain Shannon Murphy. Number 16, Gianna Bianiccio. Number 17, out of uniform, Captain Cami Cho. Number 20, Sarah Healy. Number 21, Captain Margaret Pito. Number 28, Captain Charlotte Apter. And number 30, Gabriel Gershon. Congratulations, ladies. We wish you well. And now, your Conard Chieftain class of 2017. Number 27, accompanied by her parents, John and Lisa, Hannah Biazaglu. Number 19, Haley Jadati, joined by her father, Mark, and her mother, Kathy. Number 17, Faith Haverty. Kathy's accompanied by her parents, Ed and Katya. Number 12, Anastasia Jaworski, accompanied by her mom, Cynthia. Meg is accompanied by her parents, John and Nancy. Number 50, Captain Maggie Murray. Maggie is joined by her parents, Brian and Jean, and her sisters, Caroline and Jacqueline. Number 26, Captain Maya Feigenbaum. Maya is escorted by her dad, Seth, her mom, Betty, and her sister, Dana. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you for your effort.
And we say good afternoon from Conard High School and welcome you to coverage of high school sports as presented by the War Chief Sports Council and Channel 5. Today and tonight, it's doubleheader action in soccer. The Conard Chieftains host the Hall Warriors. Welcome to McKee Stadium. Pete Lamoureux along with Steve Boyle and our fine crew. First up, the girls matchup. The Warriors come in at 6-6-3 while the Chieftains check in at 5-6-4. And for Hall, a tale of two seasons, the before and after the injury to their superstar Cami Cho. Hurt versus Tolland on September the 27th, tore her ACL, out for the season. Before that, Hall 4-1-1 since just 2-5-2. Pleased to be working again with Steve Boyle. And Steve, injury is certainly part of the game, but it gets magnified when it's one of your best players like Cami Cho.
Yeah, not only just one of your best athletes, but certainly you know, the senior captain, senior leader, very popular girl amongst the coaches and all of the players. She followed her sister through the program and just was, she's literally one of the fastest girls in New England, has been on all New England track and field relay teams. Having coached her myself, I realized just what a weapon she can be with her speed, and soccer's something that she started playing at a young age. You hate to see it happen to somebody's senior year especially.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the tough part of it. Hall, as we said, at the 500 mark under Scott Ferguson, and talking to him the other day, he said, hey, picking up the slack, a lot of players, including Gianna Dionisio, 4 goals on the season, calls her one of his best all-around players.
Yeah, again, she's a tremendous young athlete, and you know, someone that probably had to grow up in this program faster than she had expected. Camis are not easy shoes to fill in, but all indications are that she's got you know, great future ahead of her, and she's done a great job filling in there.
Definitely. Now for Conard, a game under 500 on the season. Jillian Haverty leading the attack with 5 goals, and Carrie Massaro wants to do something that's eluded her in 4 years as the head varsity coach. She's never defeated Hall. 0-6-1 during that time. She did get the one tie back in September this year, the scoreless tie.
I'm smiling for a couple of reasons. One is because it's actually Hall coach Scott Ferguson who introduced me to Carrie, and the two of them are old friends. They share a lot of interest, and they have a great friendly rivalry going. I'm also smiling because I had coached in the soccer program at Hall for a number of years, and the only loss that I suffered to Conard in my years of coaching was to Carrie. Wow. So she's a tremendous coach, a great person, and I know she'd like to get this victory today, but she and Fergal have a good handshake and hug regardless of the outcome.
She's got a good goaltender in Mackenzie Brink. She's played every minute this year. In fact, played every minute but 20 a year ago, and certainly backstops that Conard team.
Yeah, you know, a goalie in soccer is like having an ace in softball or baseball, where if your goalie gets really hot, you can make runs in postseason play that you can't in some other sports. You know, lacrosse, when you're going to score 15 to 20 goals potentially, goalie's going to let some in. But a good goalie can get a good shutout and get hot. So Brink's the kind of kid who could do that.
Yeah. Getting set now for the playing of our national anthem as the crowd rising here at McKee Stadium prior to the girls' matchup. And our national anthem here at Conard. And Off mic, Steve Boyle made his first of many good observations on the day when he said all the kids at the surrounding field stopped during the national anthem. A nice gesture for sure.
Absolutely. It's one of the neat things about being at it's an all-American moment when everybody freezes and stands at attention and quiet, even out on the practice fields.
After our soccer doubleheader today, we have 2 more broadcasts for the fall season. Tomorrow night we'll be at Chalmers Stadium for field hockey. Conard at Hall, the one and only meeting of the season. Face off at 6 o'clock here on Channel 5. Then on Saturday, November 19th, the annual battle on the gridiron. Conard at Hall, kickoff set for 1:30, and all of the action streaming live at whc-tv.org. One programming reminder, the second game of our doubleheader today will only be seen on Channel 96 because of the live broadcast presentation that they'll have on Channel 5 tonight at 7 o'clock at the Board of Education in their meeting. So soccer on Channel 5 for the first game, and then the boys' game. You can join us on Frontier on Channel 96. We'd also like to thank our participating sponsors at the all-state level: Keating Insurance, Macca Plumbing and Heating, Reed and Reach PC, Counselors at Law, ESPN, the Entertainment and Sports Programming Network, and College Prep Express. Thanks to one and all for your continued support of the War Chief Sports Council, the official booster clubs of both Hall and Conard High School. Almost set to go here, Steve. Should be a fun day of soccer.
It's a beautiful afternoon, and looks like it's going to be a great evening right into the dark when the lights come on. It's such a pleasure having coached all these years without the lights, needing to squeeze things in, especially around daylight savings time. So we're going to get a nice afternoon start and play right into the night.
Conard with the ball first as they come down the right-hand side. Alex Toussiant, one of the very good players for the Chieftains. She'll be a big factor here today. Ball down the right side. And Hall able to knock it away as Giovanna Dionisio came back defensively for the Warriors at top.
Yeah, it was a nice little clear. She played it safe, decided to take the throw in instead of risking the corner kick there.
Shot towards the net, and this is the goaltender, Sarah Peschke, making the stop. Just a sophomore. Excellent keeper. And one thing, Steve, that Scott Ferguson said, she has surpassed in goal all expectations this year.
Yeah, I mean, goalie, having had history with Claudia Hess and Maddie Hooper in goal over the past few years, Ferg has been spoiled with some really experienced goalies, and he knew that would be a position that he was going to need to try to fill, maybe piecemeal, maybe different kids trying it out. And certainly all indications are that Miss Pesky has done a tremendous job for him.
And the one thing he likes about her, very sure-handed, says no blunders. He goes, you usually see 1 or 2 per season. Not the case so far.
Yes, the funny thing about goalkeeping is that you have to be somewhat fearless, and there's really no time to think when the action's upon you. You just have to be an athlete and react, and she does that well.
Here in the midfield, Maya Feigenbaum, senior, 4-year starter. Heading to Stony Brook to play at the next level. Here's Toussiant trying to dribble her way through, and it's knocked back out by Hall. First matchup between these two squads took place at Chalmers Stadium back on September 19th. They played to a scoreless tie, and as we chronicled in the open, it's been a Hall-dominated series, 6-0-1 in their last 7. Here's Hall on the attack as they get the ball ahead towards Hannah Weissenberg. But it's knocked away defensively by the Chieftains. Lena Proietti getting back for Conard that time.
It was a nice little transition play right there. Went through Juliette Larocque, who gave a nice little left-footed touch. Just got out in front a little bit and wasn't able to get a shot on goal there. But certainly a nice transition by Hall on that takeaway.
Juliette Larocque that Steve's talking about. 3 goals, 3rd on the team so far this year. Twin sister of Camille, as they are both sophomores. Kicked back by Hall. Emily Mermisio, one of the seniors, coming back from a knee injury. One thing about both of these squads, Steve, not only do they have players out, they have a number of players that are coming back from injuries this year.
And that's right. And, at this point, when that's the case, you find that it's almost like starting again. There's a real rhythm to soccer and timing with your teammates. So when you come back after a week or two off, it's almost like starting preseason again in terms of finding that rhythm and that timing.
And certainly this time of year, both teams headed to the tournament. You want to get together, generate that chemistry, and have all cylinders clicking as you go towards the CIAC tournament.
Exactly. That's why, despite this being a sort of a rivalry match and one that everybody enjoys wanting to win, whether it's on the Conard or the Hall side, the coaches are able to look past that. For the kids, it's a bigger deal. For the coaches, this is just another game that they're trying to use. Neither of them are going to win the league tournament or the league championship, so they're trying to get their squads as ready as possible for postseason play.
Ball is headed forward on the far side. Now here come the Warriors. They get the pass ahead, and then it's whistled down as it goes back in on the keeper.
So right there you had an offsides call on Lexi Gellerman. The through ball came from the right defender, but because Lexi was the first person when the ball was touched between the defense and the goalie, that's offsides in soccer.
Kicked ahead by the Chieftains. And that'll be Hall on the far side to put it in play. Gianna Dionisio, sophomore. Fast, strong, and determined, as described by her coach, Scott Ferguson. We talk about Scott. He's in his 12th season as the varsity head coach since 2005. Also, aside from coaching the JV here, he coached boys for 7 years in Brookline, Mass. So he's certainly a veteran of the sport, Steve.
Well, he's a veteran as a coach, but also as a player. While Ferg was born in the United States, he actually grew up in England and learned his soccer on the streets of England, and was recruited to play at Boston College, where he was a standout forward. Believe it or not, most of his goals came in the air. He's a tremendous header. And I've had a chance to play some soccer with Ferg into our aging years, and he still has a lot of talent.
Nice. It's booted to the near side. And on top of it, Faith Haverty. Loss of control and a whistle at the 25-yard line.
Yeah, so that was just a hard tackle from behind. She didn't make contact with the ball before making contact with the body, so it's an easy call for the referee. It's a direct kick from here. Other fouls can be indirect, but this one could go on goal, but at that distance, they're not going to do it. Just try to serve it in there and see if some action can happen.
That was Charlotte Apter trying to serve it in there. Broke it up by the Chieftains. They come back the other way and then intercepted as the teams trade turnovers in the neutral zone.
That's Shannon Murphy playing center defense there with the green headband. Shannon's actually been on this varsity squad since she was a freshman. She's another captain, great leader, great kid, and that was a great stop back there.
And one thing that Ferg said about Shannon, got her first varsity experience in the state tournament. Not something you see often for a freshman.
Well, and it wasn't only just in the state tournament. It was to go in and take a PK. I was on the staff at that time, and she. I recall just how nervous she was. A lot of times, even your best scorers do not love PK. So it was a shootout, and whoever won the shootout was going to move on to the next game. Shannon stepped up, and I'll never forget the look on her face when she took her shot and turned around, all smiles. She hit it, and that was her first experience as a varsity athlete.
And that's a moment she'll never forget, I'm sure.
Yes.
Still scoreless here. 32:45 time remaining in the opening half. Just the first of two here today. It's Soccer Day in West Hartford on Channel 5. As Steve and I will bring you the boys contest yet to come, and that should be an interesting match as well. Both of those teams heading to the state tournament, and both having very good years, including the Hall boys, currently ranked 5th in Double L off their victory against Glastonbury last Friday.
Yeah, that should be a fun matchup. The one thing, I think if we were to put odds on who would win this game, it's probably fairly even based on records. And certainly, while I think Hall, because of their record so far this year on the boys' side, would probably be deemed favorites. I've been around long enough in this town to see that Conard Hall you got to put all the prior stuff out the window, and anybody can win on any given day, especially in a sport like soccer.
Well, Steve, I'm going to bring that up more to you in the boys' game, but I'll ask you right now about that. The home team has won the last 5 matchups there, so Conard certainly comes to play here, and that goes to what you were talking about.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, I unfortunately, as the father of 3 athletic daughters and somebody who's coached a lot of girls in town, I would love to see the stands as full for the girls' game as they will be for the boys' game. But my guess is this place is going to be hopping on both bleachers. And while we say a home crowd, we're all in West Hartford, but at the end of the day, we're on Conard's turf, literally.
Sure.
And that can make a difference.
And you think that's part of the reason why the 5 straight in the series? I mean, Hall's done it too.
Sure. I think there's something about the familiarity of the field that you practice on, where the lines are, what the spacing's like, what the lighting is like. You can't really underestimate all of that, which is why people talk about home field advantage in all sports at any level.
Sure.
A sport like basketball, for example, you just get used to the rims. There's something about the space, and you might say, well, this is the same exact size. It's different. And it breeds confidence, and confidence is so important in any sport.
And hockey the other night, the Rangers got a vibrant rebound off the backboards, and they were talking about that being a home goal, that they wouldn't have scored that on the road. And you know where all the bounces and the crevices are. And
Green Monster.
Sure.
Knowing how to play the wall in any of those places. Now, but again, I think for the Conard boys, it has you have a little more confidence. Your last game, as a senior perhaps, at least at home in the regular season, it's Hall Conard, so they've probably just got a little edge because of that.
Sure, and you talked about the crowd factor too. I got a chance to see a half of each of the games in the doubleheader that were played at Chalmers Stadium. Boy, what a big, and not only big crowd for the boys' game, but raucous as well. They were really into it.
Yeah, it's funny how, when I first moved here back in 1997, I was very underwhelmed by the amount of school spirit at either school. And something happened in the mid-2000s that really has got the kids excited about their school spirit again, and it's been fun to watch. At times it's crossed a line, but certainly from an administrative standpoint, I think if we can get the kids to recognize the beauty of why they're doing these things, then we can all have a lot of fun with hometown sports.
Ah, very well said.
Thanks.
Very well said. In the neutral zone, Sylvie Pito with the ball, drawing a lot of praise of Coach Ferg as well.
Yeah, again, Sylvie's a wiry little athlete. I actually coached her in basketball when she was in 5th and 6th grade. Oh, I just love her energy, and I love what was happening right there. A lot of little one-touch soccer. They weren't settling. They just playing simple back and forth to who they see. But Sylvie's going to be a real star for this program moving forward, and I know she's had a good. That's a nice takeaway by Charlotte out there in the midfield. Good clean tackle. And back to Conard here.
Back to Sylvie Pito for a second. Got a chance to see her dad on Madison Square Garden Network the other night in between periods of that Rangers game. He has his duties with the Rangers and the Knicks, and longtime ESPN guy as well. Very, very nice gentleman, and he does just a terrific job.
Bill's a terrific guy, and I've always enjoyed chatting with him. And it is fun to see someone, one day in West Hartford and the next day, working the podium at MSG. I used to love, even when I lived out in Seattle, Washington. I can remember watching him on SportsCenter, and when I met him, I was a little starstruck. But he's a great, humble guy, and I know enjoys watching these games.
No score. We've played 12 minutes and 20 seconds of the opening half. Conard on the season has scored 28, allowed 26. They came in at 3-3-1 on their home ledger, 27th in Class LL. As we talked about with Hall at 6-6-3, the Cammie Cho factor, they had outscored the opposition 17-7 before she went down in the game against Tolland, have been outscored 18-10 since. So there it is in a nutshell.
Yeah, and sometimes that can be a function of your schedule as well. Certainly I think to the point that Cammie got hurt, I would say Ferg was more than pleasantly surprised with how well his team is performing. As we know, we'll get a chance to talk about, he's graduated some tremendous talent. And so I think most would have deemed this to be a rebuilding year. That's a nice through ball right there. It's the Rock on pace. I couldn't see who there that was, Pete, that was tracking it down.
It was number 15 back on defense for Conard.
That looks like Maggie Murray from here. Is that Maggie Murray?
Oh, that could be. My apologies. Yeah.
So Maggie Murray's a great story in that she missed an entire season due to an injury, and having had a chance to talk to Kerry, Coach Massaro, she's just happy not just to have Maggie back, but to have her back and performing at the level that she is, and such a great kid and great family. I'm happy to see her out there doing her thing.
Comportment syndrome. I mean, that's a heck of a thing to battle through.
Yeah, just for those of you that don't know, it involves basically opening up the leg to release the pressure in the shin area, from what I understand about it. But the recovery time is just tremendous. And Maggie's kid who's a three-sport athlete who grew up in town playing lacrosse, basketball, and soccer. And so she, to have had that happen to her, took a year away from her high school career, but she's obviously bounced back really nicely. Very happy for her.
Tandem working there, Maya Feigenbaum along with Melina Kritzman, trying to generate some offensive attack for Conard. And it'll be Kritzman on the throw-in. This Hall team 2-4-1 on the road this year. They've played much better at Chalmers, where they were 4-2-2 to end the regular season. You talked about before, Steve, Ferg thinking this to be a rebuilding season. You lose a Chantel Swaby to Rutgers, Claudia Hess to West Point. I mean, there were a total of 4 kids, and not only are they great players, they're great student athletes as well, great character people, and the fact that they're playing at D1 schools, I mean, really speaks volumes of their talent and what he's able to accomplish with his program as well.
Sure, I think Ferg deserves a lot of credit for what he's been able to get out of these kids this year. A lot of times what happens when you have a star like a Chantel Swaby and you have a net keeper like you had in Claudia, kids tend to step back and wait for them to take over in their special moments. So I think what has happened is he's recognized that he had to empower all the girls to take over a collective position, and it's fun to watch them work as a unit out there doing just that they're not looking for just that one person and hoping they're going to get the goal. It could come from any of them at any time.
I'm sorry, Julia Larocque trying to battle there in the corner.
Yeah, what she did there was clever. She was seeing if she could try to get it off the defender to get themselves a nice corner kick there, but the defender recognized it and stepped away at the last second and went off Juliet.
Is the iris on camera too, okay? Is the iris? Hello?
So I think, as we talk about all sports, time of possession matters so much.
I was going to ask you about that, yeah.
And we talked about it last year, Pete, when we were talking about lacrosse. Obviously, if the other team doesn't have the ball, they can't score. And depending on what your style of play is going to be, there are some soccer programs that might want to play up pace and just put pressure on and challenge. To me, it looks like right now Hall's taking the majority of the chances, and as such is winning the battle of possession so far. I see Conard playing a little more of a defensive game, which could very well work into their favor as the game progresses if they get the opportunity for some leakaways. But right now, I would say 60-40. So here we go. This could be an example of it, is that Hall just has to transition back on defense. It's a really nice little through ball there.
As Feigenbaum tried to find Meg Melly ahead of the pack, but Giovanna Denisio got back nicely defensively.
Exactly. So that's almost on cue, is exactly what can happen in soccer. One team can be dominating play and then lose 3-0. And it's because if you just get complacent when you're on the attack and you forget to transition well defensively, you get 3 little mental lapses, breakaway goals that can happen. So, I think as much as Hall wants to put on pressure, they have to be really careful about Conard's counterattack, because that was a really good opportunity that Feigenbaum set up there.
Talking to Ferg, talked to both coaches, Ferg and Kerry Massaro. By the way, is in her 4th year as a varsity coach after coaching the JVs for 7. Ferg said, hey, we never recognized this system that Conard played. And he goes, I think we'll have more success this time around just because we saw it before. He goes, it's kind of like a football team that's never seen the wishbone or defended the wishbone before. You get another crack at it, or a batter that hasn't seen a pitcher, and then all of a sudden, second, third time through the lineup, you adopt and adjust to it.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to say, having coached a lot of sports, that soccer's one of those ones where you often want to call a timeout, but you can't. What you can do is you can pull kids on and off to talk to them, but you can't talk to the whole group collectively. So you really only have one opportunity to make your adjustments, and that's at halftime, unless you've talked about what you might do on the fly during the game. And Ferg is a great adjustment coach. He's really good at recognizing what are the things we could do at halftime to counteract maybe something new that Carey has put forward. But to your point, he knew what Carey was going to do today, and that's the 4-3-3. And looks like the kids have responded pretty well to it. Yeah,
it looks so far so good, as we're about halfway through the opening half. Still no score. But Hall certainly looking like they're playing better in this match than they did in the previous encounter when they had Conard over at Kauffman Stadium back on the last Friday of September. Kicked ahead and going back defensively are the Chieftains. Conard fortunate there off the giveaway.
Yeah, I think there was some indecision going on there, and Hall wasn't as aggressive as maybe they could have been there on that opportunity that was given up.
Here's Weissenberg trying to center it. Here's an opportunity towards goal. They score! Sylvie Pino, I believe, was able to knock it home at the 20-minute mark and give Hall the 1-0 advantage.
So that was a beautifully set up play by Weisenberg on the right there. So what happened was, as opposed to taking the shot herself, she knows that the best opportunity to score is when the ball gets to the corner, is to send it back on angle to her forwards running on. The first one through, and I believe it was Lexi Gellerman, made the right decision by doing what we call dummying it. She made it look like she was going to go for it. She let it through, and I was really impressed with Sylvie's poise there. She with much confidence, she just really slowed herself down, took a look at where she wanted to place it, and tapped it in with her left foot. As a righty, with that sort of pressure on it, that's a tremendous goal right there, Sylvie.
You know, in hockey, on a breakaway situation analogous to that, it's always said that the shooter waits for the goaltender to commit to make the first move, and it looked like that's what Sylvie did right there. She waited for Brink to slide over, and then she was able to put it in the other direction.
You know, for a young forward, a lot of times you rush that situation. You kick it much harder than you need to. Often you'll see that go wide or up over the but you could see her take a quick peek just as the ball was arriving to see what the goalie was doing. She had two defenders that were around her, but I was, again, very impressed with her poise there to not have to kill it into the net. She just placed it, and you could see that the defender almost didn't believe how softly she kicked it, but she knew she had to kick it just enough to give it pace to let it roll in. So here's Conard with an opportunity, though, to counter right back with a corner kick. Often you'll see the opposing team score goals within 2 minutes of a goal because there's an emotional let-up that can happen in soccer. So Hall has to be ready here.
And here is the corner kick, as Steve talked about, but it's headed away by the Warriors. Kicked out to the near side. Kritzman had it, tried to knock it ahead for Conard, but it's knocked back in the other direction by the Warriors. And the throw-in comes from Lena Proietti. Here's Toussiant moving forward. Dangerous offensive player for this Conard team, but good defensive play by the Warriors. Shot towards the net, and an easy stop by Petsky.
Nice collapsing defense right there. You could see that Toussiant really wanted to get that on her right foot, but they were collapsing on her from all angles, so she really couldn't get much on it. And Conard has to be careful about working that hard and then having sort of half-hearted 25, 30-yard shots, because that's not going to get them back in it. They got to maintain possession, continue to work to their strengths. Well, I'm really surprised that wasn't a foul. All right.
Okay.
So he did give the foul.
Okay.
Essentially what he did was he said, okay, Hall has the advantage. We're going to go play on until there's a loss of possession. It was the timing was such that he felt that Hall did lose advantage there, so he brought the play back after Hall gave it up.
So here's Haley Berkowitz getting set to put it in play at the 30-yard line. And it's kicked over the net that time. I want to go back to that last sequence at the other side of the field, Steve. Grace Miller was central defensively for the Warriors to break up the last Conard exchange. Drew a lot of praise of Ferg. In fact, said she's the workhorse, plays the most minutes of anybody, and he can't get her out of the lineup even when he wants to.
Yeah, my last year coaching in the program, I had the freshman team. So these seniors, many of them had come through the freshman program that I had coached. Grace was one of those kids that as a freshman had tremendous talent but just really lacked confidence. But as the season progressed and she started to sort of find her inner toughness, Ferg would come down to the games and say exactly that. And I think she's one of the few girls in the past few years, if my recollection is correct, who skipped over the JV team and went right from freshman to varsity, which only a few kids in the program have done over the years. Grace was a lot of fun to coach. She
I bet.
She had great personality, really dry wit, but was just a sponge. Really wanted to learn, and you can tell that's paid off for her. It's Emily Moeller on the throw-in. The Hall girls cross-country program is trying to build the numbers and the quality in the way Jeff Billing has done over there with the boys' side. And I know that Emily was one of those young ladies that has tremendous running ability and cross-country talent that many from the cross-country would hope would make her way over there. But Ferg talked to her, said if you work hard, you're going to get quality minutes in this program, and sure enough, Ferg delivered on that promise.
Steve, you raise an interesting point. How often do you see different coaches within the different sections of the seasons have to vie for certain athletes, and how fun can it be, or how competitive can it be?
Yeah, I think that there's certainly when you have in-house coaches, meaning that your fellow teachers are also your fellow coaches, there's a camaraderie about it that no one ever wants to take advantage of one kid's desire to maybe do something over another. You lay out the choices. Sometimes I've seen coaches sit down with the kids together and sort of say, this is what's going to happen. But the last thing you want to do is recruit a kid from one of your friend's sports. In Emily's case, Scott Sampietro is going to want Emily to have a good, happy, healthy athletic experience, and will root for her. Would he love to have her on cross country? Of course.
Sure.
But at the same time, when I had Haley Mullins, who's now playing soccer at American University, who could be playing lacrosse or some other sports at American University, she would have been one of the top cross-country runners in the state and track and field athletes had she chosen to go out for that. Okay. So no one's going to say, Haley, you have to do this. We lay out the options.
Sure.
As coaches, we hope that she'll choose our sport, but at the end of the day, we're all educators and want what's best for kids.
Sure. Proietti, nice move to get away from the Hall attacker. Jillian Haverty, 5 goals on the season to lead Conard as she battles on the far side of the field. Talk about multi-sport athletes. Delaney Connors on the far side as well for Conard. Terrific impact basketball player.
Well, Delaney's dad, as many might know, is the longtime head of the West Hartford Girls Travel Program. And his older daughters, Allison and Haley, are both collegiate basketball players. Delaney, I think, was taller than both of them combined by the time she was in the 8th grade. And, and I'm so happy to see Delaney still sticking with the soccer. While I think she would deem basketball to be her primary sport, the fact that unlike some other kids in the basketball world who chose to give up the soccer, she stuck with it because she's got a lot of friends. Priati's out there doing it. Feigenbaum had played basketball for years. I know there's a number of other girls out there as well that are, basketball, lacrosse, and soccer kids. So I really like seeing all the multi-sport athletes out on both fields right now.
And speaking of that, that's a perfect segue. I wanted to plug what you do for 241 Sports. Maybe you can tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit about that.
Oh, thanks, Pete. Yeah, it's been a wonderful experience as we've grown our message of physical literacy and sports sampling around the country. We've now formed the National Association of Physical Literacy and are building our advisory board and getting attention internationally from folks in Canada, Ireland, Australia about our model. And it really started from working with a lot of these kids. Many of them grew up with my middle daughter, Michaela, who's a senior at Watkinson, but she grew up playing soccer, basketball, and lacrosse with all these kids. And I really appreciate how much the parents in this community endorsed my philosophy at the time, because many of them at first were like, well, everyone's telling us we should only play one sport. And I just knew how bad that was going to be for kids. So to see these guys out here still playing these sports really makes me feel like we're doing something good. Because at the end of the day, none of these kids are going to do this for their living. My hope is that when they're 30, 40, 50 years old, they're still active for life, and that they're out, playing in the women's leagues and
Sure.
playing with their own kids, coaching their own kids, and that they really enjoy play for what it's meant to be. So, yeah, 241, we're doing programming locally. We continue to, but we've expanded our camp program out into Denver. We'll be back at Kingswood, Oxford, our flagship camp, for 2 weeks again this summer. Frank Robinson does a morning program for us in the summer over at Hall. Ferg helps me with a number of coaches over the April break, doing a sports sampling program. So we're active in a lot of areas.
And the website?
The website, you can either go to 241sports.com or naplusa.org. That's naplusa.org.
I know you got a chance to meet Mrs. Obama in one of your experiences.
Yeah, last year I was blessed to be first on stage after the First Lady had a conversation in front of a lot of important people in the youth sports world. Mrs. Obama was just terrific in talking about how much play mattered to her when she was growing up. And she really gets that the position she's in should allow her to influence the wellness of our country overall. And that's not a political thing. I mean, I think some people, when they heard that I was supporting her, were coming at me saying, well, you're supporting a Democrat versus a Republican. And I had to laugh and said, this is not political. We do not politicize kids playing and being healthy. I got a chance to meet the First Lady of the United States of America. If it was Barbara Bush, I would have been equally excited. And so I think that's one of those things where people need to let go of some partisanship that can happen and recognize that we should be caring about kids in this country. And if she's going to put herself in a position to do it, then terrific.
Yeah. More power to her, more power to the program. And it's all about health and wellness. It's all about the kids at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
1-0 the score. Pete Lamoureux and Steve Boyle with you, our fine WHC-TV crew. 8:50 to play here in the opening half. Sylvie Pito, the only goal so far for the Warriors, as she scored exactly at the halfway points of this opening stanza at the 20-minute mark. We have the boys broadcast yet to come. You'll be able to catch that on Channel 96, as Channel 5 will defer to the broadcast of the Board of Education meeting tonight.
So you saw Ferg subbed on Mass right there. He did a 4-for-4 trade, and I think what he's recognizing is that this is going to be a bit of an endurance battle if it stays 1-0, and he wants to keep his players as fresh as possible. And especially on a cold or getting chillier evening, he wants to make sure those kids around the bench are getting their legs some action, so that if he needs them down the stretch, they'll be ready to go.
The War Chief Sports Council proud to present its annual tailgate on Saturday night, November 12th at Town Hall from 6:30 to 10:30. There'll be food and drinks and a silent auction as well. Tickets are $50, $20 for Hall and Conard coaches. And for more information, visit the Council's website at www.war-chief.net. That's war-chief.net. I don't know if you got a chance to get to the tailgate party last year. It was a lot of fun, and a lot of coaches there.
I did. It is a lot of fun. I actually got a chance to MC it. The folks there asked me to just sort of keep the silent auction moving along, and it was a really nice honor to be part of that. Now that I'm not coaching at any of the schools, I suppose I can represent a little neutrality, as far as that goes. But in all honesty, that's one of the things I love about the War Chief Council. Let's just see here what Hall does with this opportunity before we continue. As Conard with a little takeaway, they've got a 3v2 at this point. There's Moeller trying to make it a 3v3. Ref's trying to beat everyone down there.
Tucson leading the attack in the middle, but good defensive play that time by Giovanna Denisio.
Very poised. Waited for, that's a through ball we got.
And the keeper did a nice job right before Isabella Glynn got on top of the goaltender, Pesky.
Yeah, so that's what Ferg's talking about there. There was no indecision on her part. She committed to going out. She read it quickly, made the decision, and sure enough, it was the right call. What happens often with a goalkeeper is they hesitate for a sec, then they realize they should have gone, and at that point, it buys enough time for the attacker to get there. It was a good hard tackle in the midfield right there. You could hear some parents yelling for a foul, but she got the ball first, and that's a legal tackle.
Ball on the counter.
That one,
right
on the
side.
other hand, was not. The pass had happened, and Maggie went in on her right there and got a hard foul. But that slows the momentum down. It's going to be a free kick, but it's not a dangerous spot.
And that was Weissenberg who went down to the turf. Going to retrieve it is Emily Mauricio. Back from a knee injury. I was going to talk about Emily just for a second there, Steve. Fast, skilled, and playing through the injury right now as we speak.
Yeah, she's a tough kid who's been in the program, a long time. Fergus liked her from the second she tried out as a freshman. She's got a lot of soccer experience, as you can see even right there, just trying for a little 1-2 give and go touch. So very versatile in her play. She's a center back going up and trying to take advantage of a free kick right there, knowing her speed will allow her to recover if there's some transition work. Sylvie Pito back in the game now, controlling the play there.
That was a quick rest.
Yes, indeed. And like you said, Ferg likes her to be out there because she creates a lot of action, and the ball can go through her to create opportunities for the other girls.
There's a lead down the left-hand side. And too far on that lead pass. And it'll be Hall on the throw-in. 4:20 to play here in the opening half. 1-0, the road team. Trying to extend their streak to 8 consecutive without a loss in this rivalry series over the last 4 years. Feigenbaum's pass ahead, knocked down at the defense, and here's Sylvie Pito again. Good interception. Kritzman read it well. Had it ahead to Glenn. And the long shot goes wide by Tucson.
Hannah Biazaglu and a nice play back there. Conard looks like they're taking too many attempts from too far and not building the play up as well as they could. The other thing I'm noticing too is that Hall is really dominating the midfield, which is where soccer games are won and lost. Conard appears to have 4 up front at all times, 4 back, but their midfield line does not seem to be supporting quite as well as they could be. When they've been effective, it's when the midfield's gotten themselves involved.
So here's Conard getting set to put it in play. Meg Belly, the senior. There's the 2-man wall for Hall, including Grace Miller
So Mellie's probably going to not put this on goal. She's going to send it across, I would imagine.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a beautiful... Oh.
And she scores! Wow! Upper left corner. A tremendous direct kick at the 2:32 mark. And we're tied at 1.
Now, having said that, I'm going to have to ask Meg whether or not that was intended to be on goal or not. It was an absolutely beautiful shot as if it was. Given the angle and the distance she was at, I was quite sure she was going to send it across to see if she could get a header running on. The tremendous strike right there, and I think even the keeper was expecting a cross as opposed to a shot on goal in that case.
Well, that's the way it looked like, Steve, the way that she was angling things.
Yeah, her reaction was such that I'm not even sure she had meant to put it on goal. That's why I'm curious as to whether or not she was. We're going to give her credit for it, but certainly we'll see if she smiles when she's asked about it after the game. Yeah.
And in any event, I mean, how big for Conard to answer with just 2.5 minutes before halftime? What a momentum builder for them, and what a backbreaker for the Hall Warriors.
Yeah, it certainly changes everything about Ferg's approach and everything about Carey's approach moving in. That's a nice decision right there. So she had an opportunity to play to feet or play to space in that case, and she went to her feet because she figured that Antula Congas there might have been able to take a touch herself. The other option would have put it through, see if she could have run on. Probably would have been the better option looking back now.
Here's Sylvie Pino again off the interception, but knocked away by the Chieftains back towards midfield.
That's a nice one-touch by Antula Congas. And a lefty here, so this will be interesting to see what she's able to get. Nice decision there by Melina Kritzman, who just did the nice safe clear as opposed to playing with it in the corner.
I just sensed a little more urgency on the part of Hall the last 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah, certainly I think that, what happens is you can get complacent. You think, oh, wow, we get the one goal. We weren't expecting it. And then all of a sudden, Conard gets that counter. But as we talked about after Hall scored, it's really those first 2-3 minutes you have to worry about after you score a goal because there can be an emotional let-up and the other team might be motivated more than usual to make something happen.
As public address announcer extraordinaire Bill Watson notified us, less than a minute to go here in the opening half.
Yeah, and Bill, who's seen these girls play a fair bit this year, noted that might be one of the best goals he's seen all year. Certainly was a great strike, and again, not to harp on it because it was a really good goal. Whether it was a cross or not, the angle was such where you want to put it in that direction, and then things can happen.
Put it in really one of the only spots that she was going to beat the goaltender from that distance.
Absolutely, and as a right footer coming from that side, it's really hard to place it in. So she had to hit it on what we call hit it on a rope because you can't really bend it as a right footer in that direction. Wow, that was a really good opportunity off the corner there with less than 10 seconds. Looks like we're going to get into this. Wow,
and
right
the
down to
buzzer
the last
sounds.
second. Yeah.
So, Steve, again, overall impressions of the opening half as we're tied at 1 after 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's the thing about soccer. You could have played just 45 seconds of that game, and we would have had the score that we have. It was pretty. I would say it was probably 60-40 in terms of Hall's possession and opportunities over Conard's. But at the end of the half, we're locked 1-1.
Very good, sir. So, we look forward to the second half.
Yes, indeed.
As we continue our broadcast live on Channel 5 and streaming live at WHC-TV.org. The War Chief Sports Council would like to thank our game-changing sponsors. At the all-state level, it's Keating Insurance, Macca Plumbing and Heating, Reed and Reach PC Counselors at Law, ESPN, and College Prep Express. At the captain's level, Hartford Distributors, Franklin Fine Beers, Cork and Bottle, Babe Ruth Organization, Coastal Tool and Rob Ludgen, and the Conard and Hall PTO. At the all-conference level, Hall's Market, a new sponsor, and Allied Printing. And at the varsity level, Low Tide Photography, Dave Newman Photography, Blue Plate, Fast Eddie, West Hartford Youth Basketball, West Hartford Boys Travel Basketball, the Open Arm Christian Ministries, Final Cut Barbershop, Edward Connors Insurance, Stanley and Elaine Phillips, Beth Barry Brown of the William Ravis Agency, and we thank Beth Barry Brown for her consultation for tomorrow's upcoming field hockey broadcast, and West Hartford Girls Lacrosse. Thanks to one and all for your continued support of the War Chief Sports Council to make broadcasts like this possible. We'd also like to pass along a message from those at Channel 5 who say that they hope that you're enjoying this game this afternoon online or this afternoon or at the game on demand. And we want to thank the War Chief Sports Council and West Hartford Community TV and our student and parent volunteers for helping making this possible. We're asking fans tonight to help us out with some of the costs of bringing this game to you. It's easy to help out right from your mobile phone. Just open a new text message to the number 41444, then type in the message "Go Conard" or "Go Hall," all caps, a space, and the amount that you want to give. After you hit send, you'll get a text message in response with a link that you can click to fulfill your pledge at a later time. They had their big fundraiser at Channel 5 last Friday night at Wampanoag, and hopefully it was as successful as they wanted. Again, Steve and I will come back with second half action. We're going to take a timeout. Again, you're watching West Hartford High School Sports on W8C-TV Channel 5 is presented by the War Chief Sports Council. At halftime, Conard 1 and Hall 1.
quick review of the scoring from the first half. Hall was the first to hit the mark on a cross from the right side by Hannah Weisenberg to the foot of Sylvie Pito. That was at the 20-minute mark of the first half. And with just over 6 minutes remaining in the half, from the 15-yard line on a direct kick, Meg Melly finding the left-hand side of the upper net, locking it at 1-1.
And we welcome you back to WHC-TV Channel 5's continuing coverage of West Hartford High School sports. Pete Lamoureux along with Steve Boyle and our fine crew. Meredith and Diana on hand. Jen back on the studio dials. 1-1 the score as we begin play here in the second half. Pito opened the scoring for Hall. Melly on the direct kick with just 2:32 to go in the opening half with the equalizer for the Chieftains. And Steve, if you would, take us briefly into both locker rooms. What do you think both coaches are telling their kids trying to regroup here for the second half?
Yeah, again, that goal by Melly sort of changes the tenor in terms of the approach. So Conard, on the one hand, Kerry can sort of talk about building on momentum and sort of talking about sticking with it, and even being able to say, look, if we do go down another goal, we know that at any point we can score. Hall, Ferg's responsibility there is to really just help the kids recognize that it's a 40-minute game at this point, that to not get caught up thinking about what ifs. You have to stay present, you have to play in the moment, and you have to shrink this down into a 40-minute game and just say, okay, we're starting over. let's be happy we had that goal so that it didn't put us down 1-0. Let's have some fun out there. Let's create some energy.
Tusion's pass on the wing. As Conard tries to set up the attack here. Do you see more goals off the set offense or more in transition?
Yeah, the thing about soccer is when you say a set offense, we talk about sets when the ball is dead. There's a direct kick, there's a corner, and then you have your free-flowing offense that can happen based on your typical decisions.
Off the goalpost, excuse me, Steve.
Wow. That's a tremendous shot right there that I don't think the goalkeeper was expecting at all. That looked dead on release, and Hall's very lucky for that to have caught a post. And even on the rebound, could have been a PK called there because there was a quick clear, but she caught her leg. But lucky for Hall, neither the goal nor the penalty called. And there's a header safely to the keeper. Hall can catch her collective breath after that sequence.
He dodged a bullet there in the opening 2.5 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, there's a passivity to Hall on the defense so far at this point. And, even now I don't see the kids on their toes. There's no bounce to them, a lot of walking, a lot of indecision. So Hall's going to have to wake up and really create some energy if they're going to win this game. Conard looks like definitely the more aggressive right now.
Emily or Amicio, a nice play defensively. Midfield to Apter. Charlotte angles it ahead, but Mackenzie Brink comes out to keep it away from Juliette Larocque. Good alert play again by the keeper.
Yeah, at first I thought that was an errant pass by Apter, but from this angle it looked like she had given it too much. It was just a little too much because Larocque's speed is pretty good, and a nice job and decision by the keeper to come out and reel that one in safely.
Talked about Juliette Larocque before. Called by Ferg, very technically sound. And he likes the fact that she's very durable because of her size. She's not going to get knocked off the ball or knocked down anytime.
Yeah, I had a chance to coach Juliette and Camille, her twin sister, in basketball growing up, and they are just relentless. Ever since they were in the 5th grade, their pursuit is just tremendous, and certainly as they've grown into their bodies and have gained height, the strength has come with them, and Juliette's showing really, really good body control and strength out there.
Weissenberg tried to kick it ahead. It was deflected way out of play into the stands here. We're at McKee Stadium on the campus of Conard High School for doubleheader soccer action. As the goaltender Pesky comes out and feeds Ramicio on the far side. Kritzman on the counter, but then it's taken back by Apter of Hall. As she gets set to put it in play. Good strong leg there, Steve. Kicks about 30, 35 yards downfield.
Yeah, and certainly from there, what you want to do is try to angle it as best you can because, on the turf especially, the ball is going to run onto the keeper pretty well. Well, they must have had the early foul on Apter there because it appeared that Feigenbaum was a little aggressive after that play. But they've given the ball to Conard on their defensive half to see if they can start something off the direct kicks. That's a nice boot by Feigenbaum.
Who again is on her way to play at the next level. Also a terrific lacrosse player.
Yeah, and she's another one who grew up playing all 3 sports, came to lacrosse late, but it turned out to be, like for a lot of kids who discover their love late, the one that she's going to stick with.
And she'll play at Stony Brook.
which anytime you're playing lacrosse on Long Island at the collegiate level, you know you're doing something right. If they could get the through ball there quickly, they missed LaRock. Really had an opening there if they could have figured out an opportunity to switch fields. Here's Pito getting tackled from behind.
Charlotte after, excuse me.
Yeah, Haley Berkowitz set that up. So here's what led to Hall's success in the first quarter is playing the ball into the corners as opposed to playing through balls, because when you play it into the corner, it forces the defense to turn their backs on the runners. And so if their attention is on the ball in the corner, if you can get the cross like Weisenberg had done in the first half, the attackers coming on can see the ball and the defenders cannot, and it's going to leave an opportunity. So you'll often hear Ferg yelling, send it to the corner, switch fields. He does not like to play straight up and down the middle if he can help it.
Lexi Gellerman in a battle on the far side. Here's Weissenberg. Kicked ahead trying to set up Pito, but it's knocked away defensively. Proietti got back for the Chieftains that time to boot it away.
Both teams are playing what's known as a 4-3-3, which they both are playing 4 defenders, 2 center defenders, 2 outside defenders, 3 midfielders, and 3 attackers. Historically, Ferg has really mixed up his lineup. Sometimes he would do a 4-4-2.
Okay.
And when he had speed on the outside, like he's had over the years with the Katie Rogers and Chantel Swaby and even her sister Allison before then, he could have them play the outside defense position, and they could actually run up on the wing spot and create opportunities from the backfield. He doesn't have that athleticism, so you're seeing a more traditional 4-3-3 from both groups.
Okay. Unsuccessful corner attempt. The corner kick by Hall. So now it'll be Conard. Try to drive the ball downfield.
It's Lexi Gellerman trying to earn that goal kick, but was not able to keep control. So now we've got Conard in a nice transition here.
As they try to work it down the left side. 1-on-1. Haley Berkowitz back defensively for the Warriors that time.
Looks like that's Kate Schaefer as number 37. We have her as number 6 in our program.
Yeah.
But Kate in great pursuit right there. Another tremendous lacrosse player playing soccer as well as a sophomore, getting lots of quality minutes for Coach Massaro.
Steve, she was tearing it up at the JV level, scoring over a goal a game. And Carrie said, I gladly really had no choice to promote her. She was playing that well offensively.
Yeah, I think what happens sometimes with these multi-sport athletes is that they don't always present in a soccer tryout quite as well as some traditional soccer kids do. They might not have all the moves, they might not have all the language, but a kid like Kate, she has all the athleticism. She's really feisty, really quick, and because of, and obviously, this is coming from the multi-sport guy, but because of her multi-sport participation, she just competes in ways that sometimes soccer-only kids don't. That's a nice turn there by Juliet.
And as a coach, Steve, I'm certain that you really appreciate those that can compete at the highest level.
Well, look, as we look at least on the girls' side, the kids that are going on to play in college, we just talked about Feigenbaum. Let's talk about Allison Swaby. We'll talk about, we've got an opportunity right here. That last touch was a great takeaway there by Meg Melly, who had the early goal. Had she been able to control that last little one, she might have been able to get yet another goal for herself. Yeah, and so Haley Mullins, Hannah Cho, who's playing lacrosse at Vassar, all of the kids that have come through and played at the collegiate level out of the soccer programs that I'm familiar with have all been multi-sport athletes. That says something.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. In fact, you'll find that 27 out of 30 Olympians will tell you that they were multi-sport athletes, and it was their multi-sport athletic participation that gave them a love of sport.
90%, that speaks volumes.
Same thing, 27 out of the first 30 NFL draft choices last year, all multi-sport athletes, and USA Football touts that because they're trying to say, look, we don't want kids just playing football. We want true athletes. Oh, that's a rocket right there.
Beautiful goal that time.
And that looked like it might have been Melly again.
And it's a 2-1 lead with 28:54 to go here in the contest.
We were a little bit blocked out from the booth here, but that looked again like it might have been Melly off that incredibly strong right foot. No question about that being a shot on goal. That one she's going to take full credit for. She didn't have a lot of time, she didn't have a lot of space, but she got a lot of pace on that shot.
And again, another high shot under the bar.
Yeah, you know, both goals, Pesky, there's not much she could have done on either case. And, you know, and in fairness, it wasn't like she took a lot of touches and had a lot of room to get that shot off. That's just a tremendous play right there.
So Meg Melly comes from a sports family. Her brother PJ, defenseman on the Conard hockey team for Greg Raymer and company. And the Chieftains have their first lead of the contest.
It's a nice move by Gellerman there. Maintains control, gives it back to her. Ooh.
That was Maddie Mandyke upended. Juliet Larocque was knocked to the ground, and that finally drew a call.
Yeah, it's a couple kids that went down on that sequence. You know, Maddie Mandyke, you might know, she unfortunately did her ACL as a sophomore last year. She's actually a tremendous basketball player, so it was a blow to the soccer program and to the basketball. She lost her entire hoop season, so it's good to see her out there, obviously wearing the brace, and she's playing with good aggression, especially coming back after an injury like that.
And, you know, it'd only be human nature if she came back and might be, you know, a little tentative, but certainly looks like she's going 100% full speed ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, here's a perfect example. You know, planting with the bad knee and the recovered knee, and kicking off with the left. Look, it's got to be there in her head a little bit, but I think you know, the rehab and the recovery programs are so good now. It's really just maintaining confidence. Often that brace is more psychological than anything. So I wouldn't be surprised this time next year she's playing without the brace. Aaron O'Brien, who went through a similar injury, who's playing at Stonehill right now, is playing without the brace, and realizes that, you know, at the end of the day, they did a great job repairing the knee, and actually she'll say that her rehab knee is stronger than her other one.
It's not funny, as a lot of pitchers will say when they come back from Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, because I think right now we understand so much about the body that we build up all the other muscles around it during the rehab phase that we wish we would have done before the injury. That would have prevented the injury. You know, so Maddie will have gone through a lot of strengthening of her hamstrings, her quads. Really now she just needs to strengthen her confidence by just being out there and getting as many reps as she can. I know she's excited for the basketball season, and because that's a love of hers as well.
And she did play when she was playing for Jeff terrifically well when she was healthy.
Oh, absolutely. She was getting quality minutes as a freshman. She's nearly 6 feet tall, but can play facing the basket, which, you know, in our league, that's a tremendous asset for a kid her size. She's nearly automatic. I'd imagine she's an 85-90% free throw shooter, which is really all she practiced last year with the injury, unfortunately. So it'll be fun to watch her play this year.
She'll be the one you want at the line with the 1-on-1s, right?
Exactly. So, you know, we're about to have the lights come on here at the stadium, and certainly I think Hall can use that as some sort of symbolism, because they've got to get the lights on. I would have expected a little bit more of a comeback after that goal in terms of their aggressiveness. But I'm trying to read their body language, and for some of them I'm seeing an uptick, but I'm looking for that leader out there who's going to say, let's go. This is Conard Hall. We were up 1-0. Where's the energy going to come from? I think I saw that in Feigenbaum and some of the other Conard seniors. I want to see it come from the Hall girls as well, to see if they can't counter that.
So Hall has 24 minutes and 40 seconds of regulation time to try to do something about it as they try to look for the equalizer. Hall led 1-0 on the Pito goal halfway through the opening half. Tied on the direct kick by Melly with just 2:32 to go until halftime, and then Melly unofficially again to give Conard the 2-1 lead. 12 minutes into the second half with about 28 plus minutes to go at that time. The War Chief Sports Council proud to present its annual tailgate on Saturday night, November 12th at Town Hall from 6:30 to 10:30 p.m. There'll be food and drinks and a silent auction as well. Lots of fun. Tickets $50, $20 for Hall and Conard coaches. And for more information, visit the council's website at www.war-chief.net. That's war-chief.net. A couple hundred on hand last year for that party. It was really, really good.
Yeah, again, it's a really fun event, and I think what happens sometimes, I just bumped into some friends at halftime from the Conard side, and even though my kids came through the Hall side of town, we all grew up with these. These kids were all teammates, kindergarten through 8th grade, and then they get to high school and they're rivals. But you go to an event like the War Chief tailgate party, and you realize we're one town. This is a great community. Wow, it's fun to come together for a game like this. We should all be friends at the end of it. And I think the War Chiefs deciding for that to be their name, collectively raising funds for kids on both sides of town, getting the lights and things like that. It's just been a really, really good and wise event on their part, and I'm really happy and proud to be a part of it.
Paul and Dennis do yeoman work for sure.
No, they really do, and it's it's thankless in so many ways. They take zero credit for what's going on, and when things like this happen, it takes a level of service and commitment from folks like that to make it happen. So kudos to both of them, and for doing it in such a collegial way.
And kudos to all of you in West Hartford, because I've seen in other towns where a lot of places, you're rivals on the field and you stay rivals. So to be friends after the game is over and before the game starts really speaks a lot about this community.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about it last year with Rob Sersasimo and Frank Robinson and that rivalry over the years, but they have nothing but fantastic things to say about themselves. I loved coaching against Nick Maffo and Kerry here and certainly Megan Sersasimo and the many people I've competed against as coach, because I had respect for all of them, and they were good educators, they cared about kids, and at the end of the day, we were all friends.
Shot towards goal just goes wide.
That's a goal kick right there. That was again just a tremendous pursuit on Conard's. They're playing with much more urgency. Even there, they're the team playing as if they're down, where Hall is going to really have to pick it up if they're going to get an equalizer. Just to talk a little bit more about, what happens in a town. As I look back out here, I hear all the time folks saying, well, we'd beat Glastonbury, we'd beat Southington if we were just one school. But what I say to that certainly is, think about how many kids wouldn't be experiencing this right now.
Right.
So at what price?
Good point.
We have an opportunity perhaps to win state championships, and we've done it in different sports over the years, but we're doing it by not only having our population, but even more so because we have kids that choose Kingswood Oxford and Northwest Catholic and Watkinson and some of the more elite boarding schools. So we're really doing it not always with the kids who came up with through our youth ranks, but for those people that say, but think about how much more we'd win, I would respond by saying you're missing the point. All these kids out here get to be able to say they participated in the Conard Hall senior night game under the lights, and that's an experience they'll take with them for the rest of their lifetime. And for us as adults wanting to put winning before that, I think that's short-sighted.
Yeah, the kids come first at the end of the day. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I'm sure that there's Coach Robinson and Coach Sersasimo would say the same thing about their football programs. While yes, they recognize how dominant they could be, they also wouldn't have developed the relationship and had the chance to mentor the young men they have over all these years who were under their tutelage. And I don't think any good coach would ever sacrifice the relationships that they've had with the kids on the end of the bench as well as their stars, simply so that they could have more titles on their resume.
Sure. And speaking of the unity in town, Frank Robinson, current coach of Hall High School, actually stayed in the Sersasimo household way back when he was a graduate assistant.
Oh, absolutely. And and if you could have someone who is as a good a role model in all things sports as you could Frank Robinson. I've had the chance to have him work in our programs over the years, and he is just a tremendous human being. I told him this. I said, any chance to be around Frank Robinson is a chance to have a better day. When I see him work with young kids, with star running backs, with girls or boys in his PE class who might be reluctant learners or participants, he's just a really quality educator who cares about every kid in his care.
Yeah, just a terrific guy, great coach, and proud member of the West Hartford community, and one of the first people I saw last year at the tailgate party.
Yes, yeah, he gets it. He's ever present, and certainly he's going to want to win just as much as Coach Rosasimo is going to be. But just like Ferg and Kerry will shake hands at the end of this game, the respect between Coach Rosasimo and new coach Rosasimo,
yeah,
and Frank is long found it, and great tradition.
Yeah, I'll give great kudos to the Rosasimo family as well, whether it's Rob or Matt or Meg or the entire family.
Absolutely,
first class all the way.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more.
Denisio, great moves, and the shot is partially fanned on. It was a good opportunity. It was that Lexi Gellerman that just didn't get all of that. I'm sure she'd like to have that one back.
Yeah, it's tough to get power on the right foot when the ball's coming at that angle.
Right.
She was very close to it, so probably would have made more sense perhaps to have the young lady Dionisio just keep that right now. It's a nice opportunity they're trying to create here. She may have been offsides right there. Yes. Okay. So what happened on that pass back, Lexi went right back to her with the header, and she hadn't recovered herself back on sides. So when Dionisio made that run, I think she was thinking, okay, I've taken it this far. I'm drawing some attention. I'm going to dump it off. But I think she could have taken one more touch and given it a shot herself off the left foot there.
It was an amazing rush that she had.
Yeah, once she gets running downhill, she's got great speed, and that can put a lot of pressure on. Well, it's going to be a corner kick.
Gianna Dionisio.
Oh, it certainly looked like that was deflected from this angle, but they've awarded a goal kick at this point.
So LaRock back into the contest, replacing Lexi Gellerman.
Yeah, you could tell Lexi's frustrated that she didn't get a little bit more on that shot as she comes out of the game. But again, that's a tough ball right there that's served to her to try to get any momentum on it. Coach Ferguson has sent Charlotte Apter back to the sub-circle, so we'll see her back in the game shortly. It's another senior who's been in the program, earned herself a spot as a freshman, so she's a four-year varsity player who certainly would like to go home on the Hall-Conard final game with a victory.
Charlotte Apter called by Ferg his best outside shooter.
Yeah, she's always had tremendous range, deceiving in her strength, in her capacity to put the ball on net. Yeah, she caught her at the last second. Shannon had possession there, and right as she released the ball, she caught her foot and pulled her down. So it's a pretty easy call right in front of the ref there.
Left-footed kick downfield.
Oh.
That was Feigenbaum at midfield. Just couldn't control it. And Sylvie Pito will throw it in. As Steve said, Charlotte Apter back in the lineup for Hall as she replaces Grace Miller.
with 15 minutes left, Ferg's probably going to have to make some decisions in terms of, you're pretty much going to have to get your strongest players out there and make a push for it. When it's a tie game, you might think about subbing at this point because you might be resting for the possibility of 20 minutes of overtime. But at this point, he needs to get there. And he recognizes that. So we probably won't see Grace Miller on the bench much longer. He's probably given her a breather, and I'd imagine she'll be back in within 4 to 5 minutes. If not sooner. Here's LaRock trying to get it on her strong foot. That's a nice layoff right there.
Gianna Dionisio battling.
Yeah. Probably too many touches, folks. Okay.
And the shot goes wide. Steve, at what point on the clock do you really change strategy, up the tempo, and really try to go all out?
Yeah, I mean, you can see right now as we look at the back three that he's gone to a three-man defense, which is risky, right? You're putting yourself at the opportunity. So now he's gone to a 3-4-3. So he's added an extra midfielder. So he's already made the decision to be a little bit more aggressive. You can't really go less than 3 defenders. You might get them to leak up and have a little bit of pressure. All right. But what happens is you see right now when you're not used to playing that style, Hall's a little bit more bunched than they would like to be. They're very top heavy. Now when they lose possession, they don't really have anybody to receive in the midfield.
Sure.
And so now Conard's on this attack because they got sucked up so much. So when you're not used to playing that style, it can be difficult.
It's a 5-on-3 break for them as Schaefer comes down the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Good D that time by Sylvie Pito to come back for the Warriors. And she leads the counterattack.
All right, it's a nice little 1-2. Regain possession. Probably gave it away a little too soon, but Sylvie's got it again.
Weissenberg on the right side.
That's a good decision.
Good cross there, and the shot goes high and wide. They had the opportunity. They set it up well for LaRock at about the 10-yard line, but she put it high over the bar.
Absolutely. Again, that was the exact same play that Hall got their goal in the first half. Weisenberg pushing it to the corner, drawing the attention, and then sending it back. LaRock probably could have taken a page out of the goal that Sylvie Pito scored in the first half, and maybe take her time a little bit more there, not be in such a hurry to hammer it. Just pick a spot, place it into the net. She'd like to have that one back, I'm sure.
In the midfield, Meg Melly for the Conard Chieftains. 12:20 time remaining in regulation. 2-1 Conard in front. Hall again had the 1-0 advantage towards the end of the first half when Melly got the equalizer. And the Chieftains adding so far what has been the only goal in the second half for the 2-1 advantage. Trying to present Carrie Massaro with her first ever varsity victory over the crosstown rivals from Hall in her 8th attempt in the last 4 years.
Yeah, and it's impossible for a coach like Carrie to not have that in the back of her mind right now, knowing she's just a little over 10 minutes away from finally getting that proverbial monkey off her back. Hall's got numbers right now if they can get the through ball.
Giovanna Dionisio. Kellerman's pass ahead. Good defense by Meg Melly to knock it away. As Lexi Gellerman, Grace Miller check back into the contest. You called it, Steve. You said Grace wouldn't be on the bench too long, and she got about a 4-minute break.
Yeah, I think that he just wanted to get her a breather because he's going to need her energy down the stretch. Maybe gave her a little talking to say, look, when you get back in there, we need to get a little more effort out of you. Hall's creating some nice opportunities for themselves, but I feel like they're possessing a little too much. I can feel some anxiety from the coaches and teammates that let's get rid of the ball a little bit sooner. Let's play a little simpler, a little quicker. Hall has to be careful about over possessing.
We've gone back and forth. Actually, if you want to listen to them,
We talked about Pesky in the first half in terms of what a surprise she's been for Ferg. As I look down let's just take a pause here to see what Schaefer can do.
Schaefer goes in with a shot, and the near side post save by Pesky.
Yeah, Kate, you would have liked to have seen right there. I'd put it on her left foot and send it across if she wasn't going to be able to get much on that It's a tough call right there. There certainly was no intent, but because she made contact with Feigenbaum before the ball, the ref had to call it. So what I was saying about Pesky, who just came out nicely there, as I look down, Coach Becca Lewis, assistant for Hall right now, was a standout goalie for Ferg for many years, who went on to play at Ithaca and then actually had a year of Division I eligibility left and played at CCSU, along with some time with the Israeli national team. Becca now is a social studies teacher at King Philip Middle School, but spent the last couple years on the Conard staff. She's moved back to her old stomping grounds. But now that we think about Pesky's development, I'm sure that Coach Lewis had a lot to do with bringing her along quickly.
Here's Weissenberg. And her pass picked off. It was intended for Grace Miller. Hall retains possession. Clock a factor. We're approaching 9 minutes. Time remaining in regulation. Booted ahead down the left side. The race is on. And Maddie Van Dyke wins that race ahead of Jillian Haverty.
Yeah, with 9 minutes to go, Maddie's got to make a decision right there. I think she made the safe play. Just clear it out. Let's get the defense back. She could have perhaps touched it back to the goalie, but she's got to trust whether or not she can do that with control, knowing that Pesky does not have the luxury of being able to pick it up with her hands on a foot pass back from a defender. Had it been done with her chest or her head, the goalie legally can use her hand. So probably the right decision, especially as it's turned into a goal kick opportunity for Hall.
This portion of West Hartford High School sports and the War Chief Sports Council's presentation thereof brought to you by our participating sponsors at the all-state level: Keating Insurance, Maca Plumbing and Heating, Reed and Reach PC Counselors at Law, ESPN, and the College Prep Express. All state level supporters of the War Chief Sports Council, the official booster clubs of Hall and Conard Sports.
Well, with under 8 minutes to play now, Conard is maintaining possession pretty frequently. Hall's going to want to, get away from the kick and run game, try to build from the midfield forward, play through the corners, which is where they've had the most success so far today. Their only goal came through pushing it through the corner, and their last best opportunity, same thing. So here's an opportunity for Weisenberg, who's going to take it deep to the corner, set up that opportunity. It's a smart play by Murray just to clear it out, recognizing that that's been Hall's strength all day.
So the throw in. And again, it's knocked away defensively as they look to get it to Lexi Gellerman. Intercepted by Schaefer, but then reacquired by Shannon Murphy. Is there a soccer version, perhaps, Steve, of the four corners where Conard can do some type of a stall tactic?
Yeah, there is, and that, what they're going to do certainly right now, as we can see, is while Hall has switched to 3 defenders back, Conard's gone to 5. And often what you'll see is, and you'll see this even at the pro ranks, is they're going to, right now, try to possess, see if they can't run off 20, 30 seconds and force Hall to kick the ball out of bounds. Often you'll see an attacker take it into the corner, and just like blocking out in basketball, they'll block out the defender and try to let the clock run down a little bit. Or else you just play a little possession game right now, a little bit of keep away. You just have to be careful about doing it if you don't feel like you have 100% skill. So here's what's going to happen now is that if they do try to do possession and you get this counter, it's going to be Hall's main chance to get that equalizer.
Conard now on the attack. Tusi out. Near side Schaefer. Tries to boot it ahead, blocked by Shannon Murphy. Reacquired by Conard. Long blast by Tusian is caught by Pesky. Chest high. And she boots it away. Clock again, a big factor. 5:35 to play in regulation, and the clock running.
Slurrock.
Juliet with a chance. Tried to go through 2 defenders that time, but Proietti able to get it away for Schaefer. All chasing it back towards their own goal.
Again,
Kaylee Berkowitz, I'm sorry, Steve.
No, it's okay. Looking at the midfield, I see some midfielders just walking back when really what happened with Berkowitz in that position, one of the midfielders should be racing to the sideline to give her options. So at all points, the defender who's under duress wants to have 3 or 4 options in terms of the angles when she possesses the ball. But I see a tired Hall midfield at this point.
Sylvie Pito checks back into the game. The Hall goal scorer checks in. Charlotte Apter comes to the bench for Ferg's team.
Yeah.
Denisio. Delaney Connors providing the defense there for Conard.
It's a good effort by Gellerman there. Opportunity to get it into the corner is what they're looking for. But Conard's just doing just enough to get those touches.
Schaefer trying to get behind the defense. Shannon Murphy just got that ball away. Well, Schaefer was off to the races down the left side.
Absolutely agree. It's a veteran defensive stop right there by Murray, Murphy. I'm sorry. So who really needs to gain control as she can. Yeah, that's probably an errant shot from that distance, again, given the clock. She might be wiser to possess right there, maybe push it into the corners, because that's just giving the ball back to Hall from that distance right there.
That was Tucson taking the shot, well wide. And Steve said a long shot from beyond the 20-yard line.
With less than 3 minutes to go, I'm not sensing the urgency I'd like to see from my team if I were coaching. The clock had been running all that time while they were looking for the ball. Bill, they might be looking for a reset on the clock.
Officials timeout. 3:12 left. Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. It was like watching the Vikings and the Bears last night. Minnesota has the ball down 20-3 with 12 minutes left, and they're all just meandering to the line of scrimmage when they should have been in the hurry-up. I guess you can draw the analogy here.
Absolutely, and I think, if the team, so it looks like they're going to reset the clock, Bill, to 3:22, I believe.
New athletic director Jason Siegel giving the instructions.
3:32.
So yeah, to your point, like right now, if we look at it at Hall, we'd like to see some urgency. We want to see some senior leadership of let's go, come on, we can do this. But I'm not feeling that fire right now with 3:30 to go. So hopefully we can see the kids pick it up here, and I think that this, if it's going to happen, it's got to happen now.
This is Pito on the far side with Van Dyke. Ball intercepted by Melly. The big heroes today for this Conard team. Tucson. Right side. Hall's going to intercept. We'll have an interview following today's contest with the winning coach and a player or two. And then Steve and I will be back for the boys contest. A reminder, that game will not be seen on Channel 5 or streaming. You can catch that one if you have Frontier Cable on Channel 96. So Channel 96 for the boys contest tonight. Another senior night presentation. Conard in front, 2-1. Hall has 2.5 minutes to try to draw even. Pesky out of the net. Boosts it to the near side. That's where Schaefer standing for Conard. Wins the battle from Miller. Schaefer on the attack. Into the middle. The shot is deflected. Schaefer's shot goes wide. Deflected back to her. And the sophomore put it wide of goal.
Yeah, so I think the midfield for Hall has got to recognize, yes, you want to put pressure on when we have the ball, but at some point you got to come back and earn it. With less than 2 minutes to go, I'm looking at the Hall and Conard boys coaches nearly greet each other here on the track, and certainly while Coach Segura would like to see the Hall girls win, I know neither of them are rooting for overtime. They're probably ready to get their game going. I saw the Hall boys across the way starting their warm-up, and I'm guessing they're ready to go. But Coach Ferguson and his crew crew would hope to extend the start of their game by getting the equalizer if they can.
And they have 90 seconds to try to do so. As Maddie Van Dyke puts her right toe into it. Downfield for Dionisio. Here's Giovanna.
Nice change of fields there. Good decision.
There's Pino.
It looks like we could get one last opportunity if she can gain possession there. Again, smart play. Priati and Murray doing a great job of decision making in the back there. Not making it too complex, keeping it simple.
Just a minute to go. Brink out of her net to swallow it up for the Chieftains. Now, when she holds the ball here, is there a set amount of time she has before she has to get rid of it?
Yeah, it's a reasonable time. Any more than 8 to 10 seconds would be considered yellow cardable, and it could be an indirect kick for Hall right there if the referee felt like it was unsportsmanlike in terms of the length. So that was reasonable. What was interesting right before there was whether or not the play had been kicked back intentionally to the goalie, and she would not have been allowed to use her hands. It did come off the defender's foot, but the ref deemed that it was not on purpose to go back to the goalie, so they allowed her to pick it up with her hands.
10 seconds to go. PA announcer Bill Watson counting it down.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And for the first time, as Carrie Massaro's tenure as the varsity coach, Conard has defeated Hall by a final score of 2-1 as all the players on the field to mob the goaltender Mackenzie Brink and celebrate the victory. A well-earned decision for them, Steve, no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was. I'm looking as Maggie Murray's coming off limping, and I hope she's okay. She's smiling with delight. But I think it was a really good battle. Credit to Conard for after going down 1-0 to be able to respond the way that they did. They were the team with more energy as the game progressed, and it was a well-earned victory on their part.
Well, terrific. Well, thanks for a splendid job as always, Steve.
Great working with you, Pete.
Always a lot of fun, and we'll get set for the doubleheader match. The boys upcoming. We're going to talk to Carrie Massaro and perhaps Melly as well as we get set to have our post-game show. Again, the final, Conard 2, Hall 1, girls soccer action goes to the Chieftains. Back with more right after this on WHC-TV Channel 5 as presented by the War Chief Sports Council. Okay. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Coach, the 8th time playing Hall is the charm. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much. We're very excited about it.
Started off not so well. Hall gets on the board first, the Pito goal, and then you guys responded. What turned it around for you guys?
Just working together, being aggressive, and I think they really wanted it.
And again, in the second half, once you got control, you got the lead, you played well with the lead.
Yeah, the girls started settling the ball down. In the midfield, we were controlling it, and we started making some more offensive chances.
What's going to be the key going forward for your team?
Key going forward, scoring goals. Yeah. Controlling the midfield and continuing to take our shots.
Well, congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for all your time prepping for the game, too. It really was very beneficial.
Thank you.
Guys, hi. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's it like to beat Hall?
Indescribable to have worked so hard for so long, and it's exciting. Very.
Guys, we're down 1-0 in the first half. How'd you turn it around?
I think just everybody realizing that it's our last time, at least this year, for the seniors, our last time playing, and we've never beaten them, and just going for it and seeing the fact that it was right there that you just wanted to win. So we did.
You got the tie against them the first time around. Did you guys feel that you had the confidence to go forward and win today?
Oh yeah, we definitely did. I mean, we held the ball the first game that we played like 90% of the time. We just needed to finish it, and we finished it here. So it's great.
Was it better playing on a clear day instead of that pouring rain?
Oh,
Definitely.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, congratulations to all you guys, and good luck going forward.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll come back with more right after this. You're watching West Hartford High School Sports as presented by the War Chief Sports Council here on WHCTV Channel 5.